Well, welcome to Oklahoma Sports Scene. My name is Gil Cloud, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, sitting in for Chris Lincoln, who with Becky is in London, England today. And our special guest host today from the Tulsa World, formerly of the Tulsa World, John Klein.
I've
John,
been retired
welcome.
all of one day, so, you know.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was interesting. You said earlier that you handed in your story sheet for this week and it was blank.
It was blank. For the first time, I got out of school in 1976, went to work at the Daily Ardmore, Ardmore, Oklahoma. Spent 2 years there, came to Tulsa in 1978. And except for 5 years how you went to Upper Iowa, I went off to Houston for 5 years.
There you go.
35 of the last 40 years I've been here. And
good to be back.
On Monday, I walked in there and said, here's my story list for the week, and it was blank. So it was great.
Well, we have a great show today. We got Derrick Gragg, the Vice President and Director of Athletics from the University of Tulsa, who's going to talk to us about what all is going on with the University of Tulsa with the new TV contract and their hosting of the NCAA tournament.
And we'll also have Bill Haisten, one of my colleagues from the Tulsa World.
Yep.
I'm very proud of all the sports guys there. Everyone at the Tulsa World, but I spent so much time in sports that I got a special place in my heart for how much work guys like Bill and Garen and all of them do at the Tulsa World.
And from the Sports Commission,
Ray Hoyt.
Roy Hoyt. And what's he going to tell us?
Well, he's just come off probably one of the busiest months I can remember them ever having. They had not only the Big 12 wrestling tournament, which is near and dear to my heart as a Perry boy, and then they had the NCAA tournament, very, right there back to back almost, and that's a pretty big bite to chew in a 1 month period, but they do a fantastic job, and we'll talk to him about that.
Boy, they did a great job. And we also will have from the Tulsa Drillers, Scott Hennessey, the manager, and it looks like what we've read in the paper that they've got some pretty good prospects that the Los Angeles Dodgers.
They're going to be good.
They are.
They've been good since the Dodgers came to town, and I remember there was a little consternation among some fans here, like that's a long ways. But you look at the Dodgers, Corey Seager, all those players played here.
Right.
And it's fantastic, the affiliation they've had with the Dodgers.
I think pretty smart, too, because they have Oklahoma City as the AAA.
Yeah, and
from
it's
the Dodgers,
one of the most iconic sports franchises in the world, the Los Angeles
Dodgers. I think that's fantastic. And we'll also have Barry Lewis, who will give us the coach and the athletic
fantastic Tulsa World sports writer. Been around him and Mike Brown have been covering high school sports in this town for more than 30 years.
Oh, absolutely. We grew up with them at Union and different places
absolutely.
where I was. And of course, we'll have Todd Dilbeck from the Oklahoma Secondary School Activities Association, who's going to talk to us about the acute shortage in officials across the state. And I mean, it is really getting to the point where during basketball season, at the end of the year, every school in Oklahoma qualifies. No matter if you're 1 in 30 or 30 in 1, you go to the regional. And at one point in one weekend, they have to have 1,200 officials. It's amazing.
Well, it's really amazing when you think about how many high school sports like baseball and softball and stuff that they're playing a lot of those games get played at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
And to be able to find enough people who can not only do a very competent job of officiating, but who can take time off at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon to drive out to Poto and do a baseball game or wherever.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is.
And we'll talk about the Final Four, which is right here, came through Tulsa with Houston and of course Texas Tech goes all the way to the Final Four. We're excited about that. We'll talk about the national championship will be on Monday the 8th from Minneapolis, and hopefully we'll have some footage of that. Our next person up, and we were going to talk about fired basketball coaches, but I don't think that we'll get to that today because we've got too much on this show, and that's too negative. And there'll be more fired next week, I think, after it's over.
Another couple added to the list.
Stay with us as we continue on Sports Scene to talk about the things that are going on in Tulsa sports. Back after these messages from Bricktown.
For more than 30 years, Jimmy's Egg has been starting people's day off right with hot, fresh, made-to-order food. Our eggs are fresh, cracked to order every time, and there are over 40,000 ways to craft your own omelet. With signature favorites like our meat lovers skillet or decadent cinnamon roll pancakes, it won't leave hungry. Breakfast and lunch is available every day from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., so stop in today and let our friendly staff serve you.
Stop by and see us sometime.
I bring Tulsa's voice to Oklahoma City and Washington. I build relationships with elected officials and community stakeholders to develop policies that grow the Tulsa region. I loved my time at Rogers State University. The personal relationships I developed with professors really helped develop a skill set that would help me serve the Tulsa region that I care about. It all started for me at Rogers State University.
At Robertson Tire, we'll match any deal you find on tires, but customer service remains at the core of our business. That's why we've been voted the very best in all 3 major area publications. Thank you for choosing Robertson Tire for all your auto care needs.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, brought to you by Bricktown Brewery.
You know, they've had a natural built-in. I always said, you put Tulsa or Oklahoma or Oklahoma State in this arena downtown for the NCAA tournament, and you couldn't beg tickets. But I've been very happy with the fact that we're getting turnouts. We had teams like Texas Tech here, made the Final Four, and of course I'm a big advocate of getting the NCAA wrestling tournament here, and I'm very hopeful that's going to happen here in the next few years.
You know, they signed off for the Big 12, and they're in the mix for the national championship.
They've been doing great. The Big 12 tournament has been drawn great.
Right.
Wrestling is starting to make a little bit of, well, not a little bit of a comeback. They drew 14,000 people for OSU's last match against Iowa.
Right.
So it has kind of built, but I love what the arena has allowed us to do. And you know, thank goodness for the University of Tulsa to step up to the plate and say, hey, we'll take this on because this is our community. We live here. We want our community to be successful. And that's why I always tell people, go out to see a TU football game. Go out and see a basketball game. I said, they play a very high level of football and basketball in the American Conference.
Oh, the American Conference, the basketball this winter was
it's unbelievable. And we're a multi-bid league, which we weren't in Conference USA. 4 teams in this year. We had 2 teams in the NIT, so you've seen how competitive the league is from Houston, Memphis, Cincinnati, Wichita State. You can just rattle them off. Temple, us.
Absolutely right.
Obviously, we have a lot of basketball tradition.
No question.
And then on the football side, it just kind of speaks for itself.
Well, and that morphs right into our next part of this show. We talk about this new TV contract.
Well, absolutely. It's what we call in our business, it's game-changing. It's a difference-making thing, and the day that it was announced, I was actually on the committee, the commissioners committee that helped with the negotiations. But the day that it was announced, I told our staff, I said, embrace this moment, because usually in athletics, you don't get a chance to be a part of something that's so basically life-altering, life-changing for the good in this business. And what we said was it's probably the biggest, most important, most significant day in athletics history from an economic standpoint in university history. And that says a lot. And one thing that allows us to do is to cut down on the subsidy that the institution provides for us every year. That's very, very key and critical, especially in difficult budget times in higher education, not just at our institution, but all across the nation. So that's very important. It will also allow us to enhance the student athlete life. Some of the things we can do budgetarily for them, travel-wise. Everybody knows that usually your revenue-producing sports, football, basketball, women's basketball, get taken care of pretty well, but we need to concentrate on some of the Olympic sport programs, help them with their budgets. And again, it just separates us. We've been talking about Power 6, and people kind of laughed at us when we started with the Power 6 connotation with our conference. But Mike Oresco, we have to give a lot of praise to him. Our commissioner, he's a TV guy. 20 plus years with CBS Sports, and he was able to bring all of that experience to the table, and what he was able to negotiate for us is just a proof and testament to the guy knows what he's doing. So I'm really proud of what we've been able to do.
Well, it's exciting for the university. I think it's exciting for Tulsa as a city to be involved in that and have those opportunities to be on TV and so on and show off the city. I think a lot of people, discount how much television means to intercollegiate athletics, but without television, there may not be a level that we have today.
Oh, there's no
in
question.
This country.
The exposure is a big piece of it, and for recruiting, we as an institution like ours, because of our academic prowess, we have to recruit nationally. We can't just recruit regionally. We would love to, but we can't in a lot of our sports, and we even recruit internationally. So being able to be on television provides a great deal of exposure for not just us, but our university, which also gets those PSAs during the games, and it means a lot to our entire institution and to the city.
Well, Derrick, we're glad you're here today, and we're certainly glad that TU stepped up to the plate and hosted that regional, and we wish you good luck in your bids in the future with the NCAA. And we'll want to have you back in the fall so we can talk about football.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks a lot for having me, and go TU.
We'll be back after these messages.
They're here, they're new, they're Bricktown's Brick Twisted Foods. And listen to this lineup of some exciting new type foods at Bricktown Brewery restaurants. How about this? Pork green chili tachos. That's right, tachos. Homemade tater tots, top of pulled pork, green chili, cheese, bacon, cilantro, and top with a fried egg. Ooh, yeah. Hot fig and goat cheese dip as well. Also have their fried chickpea salad, protein salad bowl, steak and cheddar sandwich. All at Bricktown Brewery. Get and try the twisted food.
There is no limit to what we will do to help the next generation. As Oklahoma's only affiliate of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we are able to deliver state-of-the-art treatment and the most innovative clinical trials to kids with cancer and blood disorders. This is truly world-class care, right here at home. The St. Jude Affiliate Clinic at the Children's Hospital at St. Francis. Healthcare for life.
Well, Jimmy's Egg, of course, is the place to go for breakfast or lunch any time of the day, starting at 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. Jimmy's Egg, of course, with 3 locations in Tulsa, 22 company stores, 17 more in Oklahoma City. Want to be really cool, though? Go to the phone and get the Jimmy's app. Jimmy's app, you just pull up whatever you want. They have coupons, they have specials, they have the entire menu. You can order online as well. Jimmy's app with Jimmy's Egg. Can't beat it.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, brought to you by Bricktown Brewery. Our special guest this segment is Bill Haisten of the Tulsa World. He still works for the Tulsa World. John Klein doesn't anymore. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach Cloud.
Thank you for being here today.
One of the great writers at the Tulsa World. I'm
No
telling you, our
question.
sports staff has won awards for many years,
Let me tell
and
you.
they won all these awards again this year. I'm very proud that I worked at the Tulsa World Sports Department because we got a lot of really great people like Bill. And
It's just crazy. I met John first in Texas, in Houston, and then he comes back to Tulsa, and then I get hired by Bill Connors, and I see John in the newsroom, and I literally said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "What are you doing here?" And so, 30 years later, 29 years later,
I'm out the door.
well, 29 years later, hey, John, I thought I'd be here 3 years maybe, because you just think.
Oh yeah, back then people moved a lot.
Yeah.
They really did.
But I learned to love Tulsa.
Well, we have breaking news, and it's
correct.
not good
Yeah.
news.
Not good.
And Bill,
It's surprising news too.
Bill
for
was
me.
covering this today, so tell us about Coach Sutton in the Hall of Fame.
Well, Coach Sutton, Eddie Sutton, is a member of 15 Halls of Fame, various Halls of Fame, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tulsa Public Schools,
TPS,
et cetera. But he's not a member of the biggest of all the basketball Halls of Fame, which is the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. Well, he's been, before this year, a finalist on 5 occasions, and they said no to him 5 times. So they make him a finalist this year, John, and I said, I really sensed that this would be the year. He's 83. Why would you set him up to be disappointed again? I mean, how cold-blooded is that, really? And yet, the Sutton family members were together this morning. They get the phone call expecting good news, and instead, for the 6th time, they said no. He didn't get enough votes. Now, I don't know. You got to get 18 votes from a panel of 24 voters, Coach, and I don't know if he got 17 votes or 1 or none. I don't know. But it's mind-boggling that he has those credentials 806 wins. He's the only guy 800 win coach who's not in. You know, and I know the Sutton family. They were so confident. In fact, they were trying to arrange transport for Eddie up to Minneapolis this weekend. So I'm not the only one who expected him to get in.
I think I read it was one of your tweets or something that there's only 8 coaches in the history of college basketball who have won 800 games. He's one of them, and he's not in the Hall of Fame.
No, there's a ton of guys. There's a ton of guys, John, behind him, with way fewer who are in the Hall of Fame too.
You know what I wonder now, on a separate note, how many of those guys that are in the Hall of Fame right now are hooked up with the apparel problem that we have, and will they stay in?
Oh no, that's going to be an ongoing story for years.
Years, you're right.
And you know, at first I thought, man, this thing's going to linger for a year or maybe longer. Well, now they keep peeling away layers. It's going to be years.
Well, I think it's going to go into football, and I heard the other day it'll go into athletic administration. Who all's taking the money? But anyhow,
anyway, Twitter response to the Eddie Sutton thing was fierce.
I can imagine.
2 years ago, John, I'm sorry, 3 years ago when he was a finalist most recently, I would say the most prevalent response on Twitter was disappointment. It's anger this time. And you know, ESPN guys are even tweeting about it. So
well, it should be.
People are noticing. Not just Oklahoma people. People are noticing what a travesty it is.
Okay, Bill, you got to tell me, how shocked, or are you shocked at all by Texas Tech? First time, one of the great stories ever. But it really is one of the great stories ever. First time ever, Final Four. That's a very cool story. That guy has done great things.
I mean, I'm shocked at the big picture of it, that they went from where they were to where they are in a couple of years. But I could show you the one bracket I do every year, one bracket, and it's got Texas Tech in the championship game. Now, I got them losing to Tennessee, so that's gone.
Yeah.
But no, I wasn't shocked that they're in the Final Four with this team, because you know, as I look back, and I'm kind of shocked now that OSU almost won at Lubbock, came that close. But watching them all year, the way they defend, you know who they look like, John? You remember the early '90s teams of Eddie Sutton at OSU, and the way they guarded, and how they, and took them to the Final Four with that defense. Looks a lot like that to me, except maybe with a few more. I would say that this Chris Beard Texas Tech team has a few more offensive weapons maybe than Eddie's great '95 team, which was big country in Rutherford.
But he's, for a young coach coming up, he's done an unbelievable
he's
job.
He's a superstar,
Yeah.
And you know, and you can, we know a lot of guys who came up through the Oklahoma junior college system or the state college system or whatever, and they just grinded their way to, bigger and better. He's the ultimate grinder. I mean, he coached at Angelo State like 4 or 5 years ago. He did, and now he's in the Final Four. So my hope for Texas Tech is that they can keep the guy.
Right.
And I don't think that it'll be a money deal, because I think Texas Tech will match whatever anybody throws at him. But Chris Beard doesn't belong at UCLA. No. Don't go to UCLA. And but Arkansas. That's
they're talking Musselman at Arkansas.
I know, and tell me what fits there. Tell me how Musselman fits at Arkansas.
He's had a lot of jobs.
Well, he's had a million jobs, a lot of them in pro basketball.
Right.
Sacramento. Yeah.
It's very important that you call the Hogs correctly at the news conference, right? And you've seen guys who seem comfortable, and you've seen guys who didn't, like Dana Altman. And I just think it's important to get a guy who fits. Kelvin Sampson would fit, but he ain't leaving Houston.
So we were talking about that, and I was going to ask you because Kelvin seems to, he's 63, I've heard.
That's right. Yeah.
He seems to be comfortable there. And I told him, I said, the thing about Kelvin is, you go within 10 to 15 to 20 mile radius of the University of Houston, oh my gosh.
Oh, no doubt.
The talent.
No, you could even, if his athletic director said, Kelvin, we're not going to let you recruit outside of Harris County and just southeast Texas, you know what? They wouldn't drop a beat.
No.
Kelvin, but I don't think he's leaving, John. Here's why. Because he wanted facilities. They built them. They're about to bump him up big on money. And I think he's going to get a under the table off, not on paper, but I think there'll be some sort of handshake agreement that Kellen, his son, will be the next head coach at Houston. Kellen's 33 now, believe it or not. And and a heck of a coach, and I think he'll be the next head coach at Houston.
So who wins the national championship? We got the Auburn-Virginia matchup and the Texas Tech and Michigan State.
Right. Well, I can't believe Auburn's in it. I can't believe they beat Kentucky.
Crying
Can't believe
Bruce
Duke and Kentucky went down, at the same time.
Right.
With a chance to go to the Final Four. I just think Virginia is just too stifling defensively. And of course, I've been expecting, and now Auburn's got that kid out with the knee injury, and you just think, really, can they keep going? I think I'm impressed with Virginia. I mean, you get beat as a 1 seed last year by a 16. Most people can't even remember the name of that school that beat them. They remember Virginia got beat, but most of them don't remember it was Maryland-Baltimore County or Maryland-Baltimore County.
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Right.
I'm not sure I remember who it was.
Well, that'll be wrapped up on Monday night.
Texas Tech, though, the way they guard and having a few more weapons than a typical, they got more weapons, I think, than Virginia offensively.
Well, Virginia should have been beaten. They scored the buzzer in their ball game,
Right.
go to overtime and win.
What a great
and of course,
time.
Texas Tech got beat by West Virginia in the first round of the Big 12.
Right. That's
so
right. No.
It's one of those things. But that'll be at the Minneapolis U.S. Bank Stadium on Monday night, and we will have those results because we're not taping until next Tuesday after the game is over. Stay with us as we go to these messages, and Ray Hoyt from the Tulsa Sports Commission will be next up.
What we see isn't always what we get. A smile can hide 100 struggles. Depression, anxiety, addiction, and eating disorders affect more people than you realize. People you know. At Laureate Psychiatric Clinic and Hospital, we offer a wide range of inpatient and outpatient services to help anyone with any degree or form of mental illness. Laureate and St. Francis. Healthcare for life.
Jimmy's Egg now introducing a 55-plus menu. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Special items and special prices for us a little older, I guess you'd say. Also, don't forget, coming up on Jimmy's Egg, they have free pancakes. That's right. You download their app, you can order free pancakes. The best ever, of course, at Jimmy's Egg. They serve breakfast and lunch all day. They open at 6 a.m. They close at 2 p.m. Locations throughout Tulsa, throughout Oklahoma City, 22 company locations. Jimmy's Egg, simply the best.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, brought to you by Bricktown Brewery. Special guest today from the Tulsa Sports Commission and Visit Tulsa, the president, Ray Hoyt. Ray, welcome to the show.
Hey, Gil, how are you?
I'm great. Boy, I tell you what, you have had a busy 2 months.
It's been crazy.
Tell us
Absolutely
about
crazy.
everything that you've done with the BOK and the sponsorships and everything.
Well, I can tell you, I had my first weekend off last weekend in like 6 weekends. So busy's good, but clearly this past March, was probably one of our best since I've been here 10 years. I mean, we start off with the Big 12 Wrestling. We do South by Southwest, which a lot of people don't realize, but with the Film Music Office, we went down to Austin and did a whole day of music down there for 14 local bands. Then we turn around, come right back home and reset and walk into the NCAA tournament, first and second round. So I can tell you that my staff were looking for some time off at the end of March, but in the middle of all that, we had the Ferries Association, which is an international event. We had about 6 other tourism things going on, and I can tell you when the hotel tax comes in this month, I think the city is going to be very pleasantly surprised with the revenue that the city benefited from.
What do you think the overall net is for the city?
I would say that if just ballparking, we haven't seen the final on the NCAA. We're waiting on some final attendee numbers. But I'd say between between our month of March is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, 17 to 24 million dollars in 1 month in economic impact, which was, when you think about March in Oklahoma, you don't usually think of that as a big economic impact month for tourism and for sports. June, July, when you have all those youth soccer tournaments. Actually, we have a soccer tournament coming up this weekend, Lexus Cup with 400 teams. So we didn't get much rest, but clearly March is becoming one of our stronger months. And we continue to work on other months, but I think opportunity is that we just keep driving economic impact for the community.
Yeah, I can remember when we were talking about building a BOK center long ago, and people would be like, well, who's going to come? And I go, well, if you get Oklahoma State, Tulsa, someone like that in your regional, it'll sell out, not a question in your mind. We've never gotten one of those teams and still been pretty successful around here. And I always tell people it's kind of unfair if you're comparing. I believe the last 2 times Oklahoma City got a regional, they had Oklahoma, they had Oklahoma State. Both times teams that I think made the Final Four. So, if you add those teams in, you couldn't have begged a ticket here. And I think they've done very well. And, I'm a big wrestling guy, being from Perry. So I love the Big 12 wrestling here. But I'm the guy that wrote 1 million columns over the years before I retired that said, get the NCAA tournament here. So, Ray, I'll say, get the NCAA tournament here. There won't be an empty seat in that arena. I'll promise.
Where are we on that?
Well, we'll bid again. As the NCAA has a 4-year cycle, so we'll bid again. Bids opening up in 2020 because it's 18, 19, 20, 21. So we'll get ready to do that bid, and we'll put our hat in the ring like we do always for basketball. First and second rounds in a regional. We always do. It kind of is. You put all your bids out to the NCAA, and then they kind of pick and choose through all the cities who bid. We'll put a bid in for the NCAA Wrestling Championships as well. We did last time. We will again this time. We'll sweeten the pot a little bit, and we'll do tennis again with TU as well. We'll probably look at some other events. Cross country's kind of come across our minds a couple of times. So we'll put, those 4 years and 4 or 5 sports, we'll put 25, 30 bids in the mix. And then obviously the NCAA gives you a phone call, do a big announcement, and tell you kind of what you want.
You're going to have a U.S. Amateur Championship coming to Southern Hills a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then the PGA Championship somewhere down the line.
Seniors coming in 21.
So, they've got you got a lot on your plate coming up here in the next few years.
Well, we got a bunch more working. Tulsa's all of a sudden starting to get on a lot of people's radar, which we've been, we worked really hard at. But there's a future Bassmaster coming back. We're talking to a bunch of other fishing organizations. We're looking at some other sporting events, and obviously BMX getting ready to come into town. We're working with some other extreme sports groups trying to bring them into town. So I would tell you in the next 60 to 90 days, look for some pretty cool announcements.
Boy, I got to tell you, Gil, I don't know, about 5-10 years ago, I wrote a column saying, one of the really cool things to get to this town would be the X Games. And J.V. Haney looked at me and goes, the what? I said, trust me, it would be huge if you got the X Games.
You bet. Well, that sounds great, Ray. We really appreciate everything you've done and brought to Tulsa. On our sponsor, we'd like you to go to Bricktown if you get a moment off. And stay with us as we continue on Sportscene to talk about the things that are going on in Tulsa sports.
Welcome to OKC's most unique casino experience. One moment you're surrounded by dazzling lights, jackpotting the latest and greatest machines in town, and the next moment, cheering home a winner in the greatest quarter horse racing show on earth. It's a truly unique 24/7 gaming experience. The only casino in the heart of OKC is the only casino that can make your heart truly race. Remington Park.
Each week we talk about the GTR, and we know for a fact that Forrest Cameron and his wife Sharon put out a tremendous paper. Well, I brought all 6 of them today. I'd like for you to see them. The Union Bound Derrick, and here is the OSSAA Rambler. And if you live in Bixby, how about the Bixby Breeze or Broken Arrow, the Broken Arrow Express, Jinx, District Gazette, and then of course the Tulsa Midtown. All of those, the GTR. If you haven't had an opportunity to read one, do it, and you'll be proud of it.
At Bricktown Brewery, we're known for our famous original craft beers like Single String Stout and Bluesberry Ale. Did you know we also brew our own root beer at our Oklahoma City brew house? It's called Attaboy Root Beer, and you'll love it no matter what your age. Just ask for a Bricktown Kids menu with all the favorites for our guests 12 and under. Bricktown Brewery opens every day at 11 a.m.
Here at Robertson Tire, we love Tulsa. And over the past 50 years, we've partnered with local schools, churches, and charitable organizations. To learn more, visit us online at robertsontire.com.
Welcome back to Sports Scene, Oklahoma Sports Scene, brought to you by Bricktown Brewery. And now joining us, a really special guest, just back in town after a little bit of hiatus, Scott Hennessey, the manager of the Tulsa Drillers. And congratulations on the, I don't think we had you after the championship.
No.
We had Mike, and he had the trophy and showed us the ring. But congratulations on a great run. And boy, we start off right off the bat with a 7-game homestand.
Yeah, it's we were talking before. It's good to be at home to start the year. You know, for the fans, getting to see the ring ceremony, and just the players getting accustomed to the new stadium. The guys that are coming up from A-ball, and we want to start at home and put on a good show in front of the fans. And definitely glad to be back.
Well, we're glad to have you back. I think it's going to be great weather.
Yeah,
it looks like except for Thursday.
Yeah, but I think it's just morning showers. I think it's going to clear out of here.
Yeah, I think you'll cover the field, and of course the field drains well. It's a great field.
Yeah.
So tell us who you're going to play.
We open up with I believe it's a 4-game series with Arkansas, which is Seattle, and that's who we beat to get to the finals last year. So they'll be ready to go, well managed, good organization, good players. And we have a 3-game series with Springfield Cardinals, St. Louis's AA team, and they always have good prospects. So we'll be tested right off the bat, but we feel we're ready. They're going to be ready too, and we're ready to go. Everybody's healthy, and let's just keep them there the next couple days.
When you guys were out in Glendale, did you have some surprises that ended up coming to Tulsa that maybe you didn't expect? I mean, was it pretty much what you thought it would be, or was there a lot of movement while you were out in spring training?
Well, you know, we had a lot of guys, you know, like Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin. We had some guys, Gavin Lux, DJ Peters. They were up with the big club a lot. But we figured that they were going to come here, just depending on injuries with the big team and the AAA team. More so than anything, we were just trying to keep these guys healthy for the last 3 weeks, and so they would come here and ready to go from the beginning. So not really surprises, but everybody's healthy and had a great spring training.
That's fantastic. Tell us a little bit about your experience at the end of the year going up with the big club.
It was humbling, very exciting. Got to learn a lot. The thing I learned, just like how those guys prepare every day. They're always, you never really see them because they're studying, they're working in the cage, they're studying opposing pitchers in the weight room. They're working on their nutrition. So it's just the process of their day and how they go about it. It's similar to ours, but it's a little bit more advanced. And I think that's like DJ Peters getting to go up in spring training, Gavin Lux, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May. I think that's what they learned too. So it was a great experience, and hopefully it happens again.
That's got to be good for them.
Yeah.
In AA baseball, that seems to be kind of an important thing. Is a lot of times you're still trying to help these guys realize here's how you be a professional baseball player, right? I mean, that all of the things it takes besides being able to hit and pitch.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there for them, right?
Yeah, there's more to it. You know, definitely you got to eat better. You got to get your rest. You got to keep your strength. You got to make sure you're stretching properly, and more so than anything, you got to prepare, because each level you go up, the biggest step is from A-ball to AA, and you have to prepare for the guys that you're facing, both offensively and defensively. So we come to town and we get this 7-game series at home. Tell us about some of our prospects for the 2019. We have a good number of prospects this year. Dustin May is going to be our opening day pitcher, and he's close. Had a really good spring training up with the big league team. He's not far from getting to LA. Cabert Ruiz is going to catch him. He was here last year and back. I think he's our number 1 prospect. Number 1, number 2, depending on what publication. Christian Santana is a high prospect. He's going to play third base. Gavin Lux, who's number 2, number 3 prospect in the organization, is going to play shortstop. Omar Estevez from Cuba is a high prospect. DJ Peters is back. Mitchell White, who's healthy finally, came on at the end of the year. He's back. He's going to throw game 4. And Yadi Alvarez, who's this will be his third year in Tulsa from Cuba. Sky's the limit for him. He's going to go game 2. So a lot of prospects, and one guy missing, and I want to bring back up is Cody Thomas, OU guy. Had a great spring training, and we got the football out of his system, and he's going to be a really good player, good big leaguer as well.
Yeah, a good article today about him in the Tulsa World, and I know a lot of people will be anxious to see him. I didn't realize his size at 6'4" and 212 pounds.
Yeah, it's almost, if he's more closer to 6'5" than 6'4". Big man, can run, has power, plays the game really, really hard, and a natural leader, and I'm glad he's here.
It appears that our parent organization, the Los Angeles Dodgers, have put some players here for you. Are you concerned about how long they'll stay and who might replace them?
Our job is to get them better and to get them out of here. If these guys are sticking around, we're not doing our jobs. And I look for Gavin Lux, maybe a DJ Peters, to be the first ones to go. Pitcher-wise, Dustin May will probably be the first to go to AAA, if not the big leagues. So our job's to get them better, have fun while we're here, win as many games as while we're here, and then get them out of here. And we just reload when whoever they send us.
You bet.
Well, I was going to ask you too, that when they built the new stadium here a few years ago, one of the deals was they tried to match what they had in Denver. Now, obviously, there's 8,000 seats here instead of 50,000, but they tried to match underneath. Is that a big deal that you have really nice facilities underneath, locker rooms, the different things that you have underneath the stands that fans don't see?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because we have a lot of ex-big leaguers here. Josh Tolley, Chris Parmalee, J.D. Martin. These guys have all pitched in the big leagues. They've never been here before. And they get here yesterday and they're like, this is like major league quality, clubhouse, the weight room, the cage. It's first class. I mean, you don't get this everywhere. The guys definitely feel special, and we can get a lot done under there. I wish the fans could see it, because it's really special.
Yeah, I remember when I was still a sports writer, I would write that occasionally. I go, it's really too bad the Trillers just don't give everyone a tour underneath, because the stadium underneath, the facilities underneath are unbelievable, because they went and did Coors Field basically for a minor league baseball stadium. It's a very nice facility, and I know the Dodgers, when they came here, that was one of the big deals. They said, we love the facility, and they draw good crowds here.
I've always been an environment. I think you provide a good environment. It's a class operation. This is what we want from you. You act class because you're in class.
Exactly.
You got about 30 seconds. Tell us about this coming year. Who's going to be the team to beat? Tulsa?
Well, let's hope the Tulsa Drillers are the team to beat. We feel good about our players. We feel good about our draft process, how we develop guys, the character of our team, and we're going to work them, and
let's just hope we can do it again. We do. We hope you do. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck this year.
Yep.
Good luck to you this summer. We'll see you.
Hopefully we're having a good conversation next year about it.
You bet. Stay tuned. We'll be back with Todd Dilbeck of the OSSAA and Barry Lewis of the Tulsa World.
Well, Jimmy's Egg, of course, is the place to go for breakfast or lunch any time of the day, starting at 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. Jimmy's Egg, of course, with 3 locations in Tulsa, 22 company stores, 17 more in Oklahoma City. Want to be really cool, though? Go to the phone and get the Jimmy's app. Jimmy's app, you just pull up whatever you want. They have coupons, they have specials, they have the entire menu. You can order online as well. Jimmy's app with Jimmy's Egg. Can't beat it.
There is no limit to what we will do to help the next generation. As Oklahoma's only affiliate of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we are able to deliver state-of-the-art treatment and the most innovative clinical trials to kids with cancer and blood disorders. This is truly world-class care, right here at home. The St. Jude Affiliate Clinic at the Children's Hospital at St. Francis. Healthcare for life.
Welcome to OKC's most unique casino experience. One moment you're surrounded by dazzling lights, jackpotting the latest and greatest machines in town, and the next moment, cheering home a winner in the greatest quarter horse racing show on earth. It's a truly unique 24/7 gaming experience. The only casino in the heart of OKC is the only casino that can make your heart truly race. Remington Park.
At Rogers State University, we keep things personal.
It all starts here.
We make sure our graduates get the most out of their education.
RSU has campuses in Claremore, Bartlesville, and Pryor, with on-campus housing and a wide variety of programs to suit your needs.
It all starts here.
Rogers State University.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene, brought to you by Bricktown Brewery. And now we have two guests. Special guests from over Oklahoma City and the Oklahoma Secondary School Activities Association, Todd Dilbeck. Welcome to the show.
Coach, thanks for being
And our standard and the first show of the month, Barry Lewis from the Tulsa World, and he'll tell us a little bit after we get finished with Todd about the coach and the athlete of the month. But Todd, let's talk about an acute problem that we have statewide. Yeah. And it is really getting tense, especially on playoff weeks and everything, to have enough officials available.
Coach, it's really nationwide. We're seeing this means of officials that are retiring, the older ones, and we're not getting enough young ones in it to maintain what we've got. It's sort of like education. If you keep somebody for 10 years, pretty much they're going to be a lifer as an educator. Right now, if we can keep an official for 3 years, we feel like we've caught them, and hopefully we can keep them through the duration of their career as an official.
What can we do, out in the schools and through the administration and everything, and through your office to encourage more people to get into officiating?
We joined with Mike Pereira's Battlefields to Ball Fields 2 years ago, where anyone in the military that's active or retired can join to be an official, and they will help them support their officiating for 3 years with uniforms and clinics, whatnot for them.
I see.
Well, this didn't happen overnight. I mean, I know it's been happening for quite a while now, like a decade. Is that just a reaction to, I know it's hard to be an official, maybe fans and moms and dads have gotten a little too close to the playing fields, but it seems like we've had that attrition going on for quite some time now. That's not even though it's gotten critical now, it's been going on for a while, right?
I think it's been going on for a while. I think now we're getting to the critical stage, and I'm going to project in 10 to 12 years, we may not have enough officials for JV level and down. Just the fact of the number of officials that are retiring or getting older. Our youngest one is 16, and our oldest one is 87, and our median is probably about 48. When you look at the breakdown of officials in our state that are calling. But it's a tribute to parents think they can pay $5 and say what they want to say, holding people accountable for what they say in the stands. We've lost respect for authority, and that's sort of where we're at. Kids don't respect their parents. Parents expect the schools to be the ones that, raise their children now. And now the brunt of it is the official that comes out that wants to try to call a fair contest, and it's sort of like it's not worth it.
Well, I know last summer I wrote a column, I think right before, thanks to Barry, on Dr. Breedlove over in Stillwater,
yes,
who did it for 50 years. And I asked him about that. He goes, well, he says, actually in my case, he says, I did it for 50 years, that was long enough. But he mentioned that, and he said that it's really been amazing. He says it's been kind of a slow thing that, he says, back in the 70s and 80s, I mean, no one said anything to any official. And now he says it's kind of amazing the stuff he hears sometimes. So I'm sure it's a hard job and they don't make a whole lot of money, but it's a very rewarding thing. And we need officials.
Are there any sports that are just really are in jeopardy right now?
Well, believe it or not, our basketball playoffs in Oklahoma, everyone qualifies for the basketball playoffs. So at one point, we have to assign 1,200 officials for that week of basketball playoffs. We have 360 that make themselves available. So that's the problem that we're running into, is the availability for the afternoon games and evening games. Mm-hmm. Our officials that are calling right now, men and women, do an outstanding job. They don't do it for the money. They do it for the love of the game and to share great memories with kids and themselves. Great fraternity.
And they really have to make a commitment because they have to take off work for those afternoon games. You know, I always marvel at baseball and softball. Yeah. That starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you think, well, where did this guy work that he can get off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to come call those games? And of course, the playoffs are the same way. But you know, it's from our standpoint, from a school standpoint, you know, we've gone to assigners who assign them. So we've kind of gotten out of that acute problem of finding an official because we pay a guy to go find them for us. That's been a bonus and a pleasure for us, you know, because when I first started, I told people the 3 most important things I did was hire officials, hire coaches, and schedule games. Yeah. You know, today it's raise money, and raise money because I don't have to worry about those other things if I don't do that. But so how can somebody become an official?
Well, I want to elaborate back on the shortage of officials. Basketball and really baseball right now are the two that we're really tough to fill. You know, right now in the spring it's really difficult to get those filled up. But you can go online to the OSSAA.com and go under officials, click onto that. There's a portal there for you to sign up. Once you sign up, then we'll send you your test booklet and everything to take the test. And then once you do that, we'll get you assigned to a local in your area. And we've got great locals here in the Tulsa area, GTOA, and we get those hooked up with someone. That way they can sort of have a mentor to get them started and then get assigned to start calling games.
Well, that's great. Well, Barry, we have officials for the games that you cover.
Yes, and they did a great job during the state tournament.
Oh, absolutely. And we have our student athlete and our coach of the month.
Yes, our athlete of the month is Putnam City North's basketball's Micah Thomas, and he capped an incredible career with a tremendous playoff performance as he nearly carried Putnam North single-handedly, it seemed like at times, to another state title. He averaged during the playoffs 32.4 points. For the season, he averaged almost 30 points. He was almost unstoppable. There'd be so many coaches who would come by to me during a game or at halftime, and they'd tap me on the shoulder and say, "He's incredible, isn't he? He's unbelievable." And he really was. He was in such a different role this year than he was last year when he helped Putnam North win the state title, was the tournament MVP of the state tournament. And he became a prolific scorer this year, finishes his career with over 2,100 points. And I just am very excited to see what he can do at the next level. So Micah Thomas, Putnam North, which was ranked 16th going into the postseason and finishes as the 6A state runner-up. Micah Thomas is the athlete of the month.
And the coach?
And the coach of the month is Adair basketball coach Scott Winfield. He led Adair to the Class 3A girls state title, Adair's first state title since 2009, and Coach Winfield's second at Adair and 4th overall for Adair in girls basketball. Not many people were picking Adair to win before the state tournament, but Adair surprised a lot of people. So Scott Winfield of Adair is the coach of the month.
Well, Barry, thank you, and thank Todd. And Barry, we have a surprise for you. We have a Bricktown.
Bricktown this time. All right, change of pace.
Bricktown for you. And come right back with us when we'll have the Remington Report.
Jimmy's Egg now introducing a 55-plus menu. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Special items and special prices for us a little older, I guess you'd say. Also, don't forget, coming up on Jimmy's Egg, they have free pancakes. That's right. You download their app, you can order free pancakes. The best ever, of course, at Jimmy's Egg. They serve breakfast and lunch all day. They open at 6 a.m. They close at 2 p.m. Locations throughout Tulsa, throughout Oklahoma City, 22 company locations. Jimmy's Egg, simply the best.
Robertson Tire has been your local tire expert since 1962. Now at RobertsonTire.com, it's easier than ever to get a customized quote. And with our price match guarantee, you can be sure that you're getting the best price. For more information, visit RobertsonTire.com.
Oklahoma Sportscene wants to welcome our newest title sponsor, SNB Burger Joints, the home of fresh-made gourmet burgers and sliders, great sides, hand-dipped milkshakes, root beer and soda floats, and delicious homemade pies. all served with a fun and friendly staff, and we feature a full-service bar with over 65 beers and our unique Bloody Marys. S&B Burger Joint in the Oklahoma City area and coming soon to Tulsa.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. The Remington Park 2019 Quarter Horse Meet is on now, and let's go to Dale Day in Oklahoma City and look at this past week's races.
Racing seasons at Remington Park always provide interesting storylines. One of the most interesting this season in 2019 is that of former jockey Ivan Carnero. The riding career of Ivan Carnero quickly developed. He had only been a jockey for 3 years when he received the mount on Just Good Candy in the 2015 All-American Futurity, then guiding the Oklahoma bred to victory.
You know, he walked in the gate, he was second to last to load. So, I mean, he wasn't in there too long, just enough where he could break pretty sharp. He broke pretty sharp, and about halfway through there, he just kind of started pulling away from them.
Now recognized as a hot up-and-coming jockey, already with the top prize in the sport on his resume, Carnero was in demand at Remington Park in 2016. He won the riding title with 49 victories to his credit, including a score again on Just Good Candy in the Mr. Masterbug Stakes. Carnero's brief reign at the top came to a quick end at the start of a race at Will Rogers Downs in 2016. When one of his mounts stumbled leaving the gate, Carnero was thrown to the ground, something that happens to every jockey during their careers. This time, the outcome was uncommon.
Coming out of the gates, he stumbled, he threw me over, and right whenever he threw me over, he tried to jump over me, and his back heel clipped me right under my ear. It fractured my whole left side of the skull, and that's when I lost my hearing on my left ear and damaged the nerve, 6th nerve palsy. So it damaged the nerve that controls my eye to move to the left. And for over a year, I had an eye patch on my eye. And just this last September, almost exactly 2 years after the accident, I had surgery on my left eye, and it's a lot better.
Once healthy enough to be around horses again, Carnero got the itch to get back to the racing business, now as a trainer.
This is my first time training. This is my first track. So we'll see how it goes. I have some pretty good horses, so I think we'll be able to compete with the big dogs. Maybe not in the futurity trials yet, but we have some pretty nice day horses. I think we'll do good.
Through Remington Park Racing of March 28th, Ivan Carnero has saddled 12 horses, with 2 wins and 3 second-place finishes for an in-the-money ratio of 42%. Given time, Carnero's training career seems ready to blossom, similar to his career as a jockey. Big money racing awaits older horses at Remington Park as the season reaches the midway point. Jesse's First Down, the 2-time American Quarter Horse Association World Champion in 2016 and 2017, returned to the barn of trainer James Padgett in Oklahoma City. Jesse's First Down will be pointed to defense of his 2 stakes wins here last year when he starts in the Grade 1 Leo Stakes on May 4th and the Remington Park Championship on June 1st. As the weather heats up, so does the racing action here in mid-season at Remington Park. And don't forget to mark your calendars on Sunday, April 28th for a different kind of racing. Extreme Race Day is back as the ostriches, camels, zebras, and more take part in the races on the track in between Quarter Horse Paint and Appaloosa action. Always a fun day and one of the highest attendance days of the year. At Remington Park in Oklahoma City, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sports Scene.
Thanks, Dale, for that report. Boy, those are great races. And I tell you what, John, there was another big race, the world's richest thoroughbred race, $12 million at Dubai, the World Cup, run this past weekend. And wouldn't it be nice to be able to win $12 million in one horse race?
I think Chris used to ride in that or something, didn't he? I mean, I do remember being at the airport one time, and I asked Chris, this is back when he was doing a lot of racing, and I was like, so where are you off to? He goes, Dubai or somewhere. I looked at him and said, Dubai? How long a flight is that? And he was like, way too long.
Way too long. Well, I think we've got the Dubai race call. So we'll cut to that right now and see how that went.
North America down on the fence. Pavel from a long way back. Gronkowski, the front runner, 250 metres to go. Thunder Snow on the outside, levelling up. Down the outside, Gunavera and Pavel. Thunder Snow going after Gronkowski. Thunder Snow reaches the front. Gronkowski fights hard. Thunder Snow, Gronkowski. Thunder Snow on the outside. Nose in front. It's double Thunder. Thunder with Thunder Snow getting in a nose to Gronkowski.
Well, that was a great race, and I tell you what, to win that much money, I would be so nervous I'd fall off the horse.
I'd fall off my seat in my box.
And I don't know about Chris riding in the race.
Yeah. I think he was riding it. I mean, he was trying to. I may have been at the airport bar a little too long that day.
Well, that certainly would have been a handicap for the horse. I can tell you that. No, that's a great thing. And Thunder Snow, was the winner, and it was great that the American horses all ended up 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the race. So they travel well, I guess, to Dubai. I think that's it for our Remington report, and we'll go on now to what's on next in our show. Next week, we're going to have Don King will be the guest host. And I think he'll be here with us, of course, with the Garen Emig, and we're going to talk about football at Oklahoma spring practice.
Lots of football going on this time of year, and I was never, as you know, never a big fan of spring football during my career. I'd be like, you want me to go where? To what game? But I know it's very critical because of the quarterback situations at all three schools. You have a new quarterback at Oklahoma. You're going to have a new quarterback at Oklahoma State, and they have to decide who they're going to play at quarterback at Tulsa. So it's kind of a big spring for all the schools. And, college football, in my opinion, has changed a lot. I did it for 40 years, but, it's changed a lot just in the last 5 to 10. It has become such a quarterback-centric game at the college level, and to another extent, the pro game too, but especially in college football. If you have a great quarterback, you can be average in a lot of other spots.
And we're going to find out about that at Oklahoma.
I think no question. And that is, Oklahoma's rebuilding offensive line. They have a lot of people to replace.
Absolutely.
And, but you have to, if you've got a good quarterback, in the old days it would cover up some spots. Now you can win big. If you got a great quarterback.
Well, we'll have Garen. He'll talk about that. We'll have an assistant coach from TU that can wrap up their spring game, which is this next weekend. Nick Sidorkas will be with us, and Nick is going to talk to us about the Masters. He's totally involved with those big-time golf tournaments, and Nick will be there. And then Janice Gibson from the First Tee program, which is a great program, and of course Janice Gibson's a TPS Hall of Famer. And we're glad that Nathan Hale graduated.
One of the nicest people ever, and does great work with kids.
Does a super job. Well, John, let's talk a little bit. We've got about a minute. Let's talk about your retirement. What are you going to do?
I'm going to sit on my patio for a while. People keep asking me, I'll do something, I'm sure, eventually. But for the first, I got out of college, and 1 week later, I was working at a daily newspaper. And I've worked at a daily newspaper now for 42 years, every day. I was never unemployed. So for me, I'm like, I want to wake up some morning and say, I got absolutely nothing to do this week. And Monday, I woke up for the first time in 42 years. I handed a blank sheet to my old editor at the paper and said, here's my story list for the week, and it was blank. And so I think for a while, I'm just going to take it easy and relax and go to some Drillers games, and maybe I'll come out to some TPS events.
Do that.
I happen to know the athletic director at TPS. I can probably get in.
I think I can get you a pass. John, thank you for being here, and thank you for watching Sports Scene. We'll be back next week when we talk about all those things you want to hear about.